Hello. It's October, so I'm going to be kind of mixing things up a little bit on this month. That is, for my content, I'm going to be kind of here and there. Not everything will be gaming related, so to speak. This is a little bit gaming related. It has somewhat, well, it's got Mega Man X in it, sort of. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But anyway, I've done a couple of videos where I talked about video games that I tried to make as a kid by showing off the illustrations. The cat's in the video here. But there was another thing I talked about that I did as a kid was draw comics. So, well, sort of like most of the time I would like just come up with an idea and then I'd draw like like 5 panels or so, and then I just kind of lose interest. So, this is one I really want to do, probably because I put more time into it. And I was probably about 7 or 8 when I drew this. So it's that's the thing. It's October, so some of the stuff even though I'm not a Picasso or anything, a lot of this stuff is pretty graphic graphic as like the concept, if you will, or like the idea, we'll put it that way. But anyway, I think the plot of this was that it was like this group of mercenaries fighting against an evil corporation or something like that. So here's the mercenaries, their ship, which is basically supposed to be a ship from Star Trek The Next Generation, where I can never remember the name of it, but it was one I always really liked. It was kind of shaped like a boomerang. Anyway, that ship is sucked up by a tractor beam from a giant ship from the evil corporation, and 7 of them parachute out in time. Those 7 are Bleen, Joe, Amanda, Spike, I believe his name was, Blizz, who's the leader, even though Bleen is more the main character, Ashley, and Joe. So then a blatant Sub-Zero shows up with from the evil corporation with some purple guy. He freezes Amanda and Spike. Then a giant shuriken flies in and kills the purple guy. The light's kind of... It's Blizz shows up. That was me! I should probably note that there's a lot of ninja rip-offs in this from the Mortal Kombat games, the ninjas. One thing though is I messed up on the colors. Like, technically, this should be, in his case, this should be white and that should be black. Because that was the thing. I was like, when the ninjas in Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, they never made like a white one, but whatever. So then Spike and Amanda break out of the ice. I'm gonna have to skip a few. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but I skipped like quite a few pages, did all this stuff, and then I went back to this. But anyway. So here's Bleen and Joe show up. And I think his name was Frost. This was obviously before Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. He shows up with some ninjas from... Yeah, again, I was like, oh, they never made brown. My brother was always like, oh, probably because it was the color of shit. Yeah, and the other thing with these word bubbles, you know how normally you draw the text... or write the text and then do the word bubble around it. As a kid, I never knew that, and I did it the other way around, so, yeah. And another thing I should note, all the ninjas in this are human, and he's the only one with powers. So anyway, he shows up with some reinforcements, and then Spike does some, like, Dragon Ball Z type move or something, I don't know. So he kills the 3 soldiers and wounds Frost, who runs off and goes, goodbye, which was a reference to a Tiny Toon Adventures episode. Here's Ashley strolling down the alley or something. She gets upset because these group of punks jump her. We got some punk guy, a 50s looking dude. I don't know. A guy with a hockey mask and spiked gloves. A black guy. Some 80s rock and roll chick. And the last boss from Peacekeepers, which was a Super Nintendo beat-em-up. So they all start beating the shit out of her. I don't know what's going on here. Joe, she shows up, finds the others. Joe's like, oh no! And she's all beat up. And then Swamp Thing shows up. I'm just kidding, that's not Swamp Thing. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. But anyway, he uses like plasma or energy or something. Surrounds himself with it. And himself and Ashley, and then he like fuses the 2 of them together and flies off. A truck shows up. Inky's the one driving. Come on! I just spit on my camera. They take off and pursue him to this prison guy. There he is again. Ha 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 ha. He goes into some giant rollout with an arm cannon. Mega Man. So then Blizz jumps inside and he starts shooting at the cockpit. Jumps out, but he's still alive, so they start shooting at him. Yeah, they have laser guns, or like Star Wars, and he starts shooting giant lasers at them. I love this shot right here, where the lasers are hitting the ground and Blaine is jumping out of the way like, oh shit! So they fire a buttload of lasers and blow them up. Boom! Yeah, that's creative. Just, oh, you draw an explosion, just fill the panel red and write boom. But Ashley wasn't there, so they leave and blow up the prison. And somehow they got another Star Trek ship. How, I don't know, but... Oh, and by the way, the Mega Man X stuff is coming up. So then some ninjas and stuff start shooting at them. So they fly down, start shooting at them. Joe hangs down on a rope shooting at them. Then a tank shows up and shoots at them. They start shooting it. It shoots them at the again, but they start going down, shooting it as going down, and they blow it up. And they crash land in the forest. And right here, they all get separated. Spike and Amanda stay behind to fix the ship while the others go out and explore. Now, of course, because I was like 7 or 8, which is when... This was like in 94, at least, because that was when Mega Man X came out on the Super Nintendo, which is why I incorporated the 8 Mavericks into the game, or into this, because I freaking love that game. Now, naturally, look nothing like they do in the game or anything, but Flame Mammoth shows up, and I think that's a pretty good attempt at him. Well, yeah. So he shoots lava or magma or a laser out of his trunk. Blast Joe sends him flying into a tower. Inky is running, steps on a pile of leaves. Oldest trick in the book. Falls into a hole. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But Bleen throws 2 giant shuriken at the Flame Mammoth. He punches Blizz. Then Bleen starts shooting him. Boom! And he's already dead. Yeah, they're pretty easy to kill in this. Or kill pretty easily. The only one that lived kind of the longest is Sting Chameleon, because as a kid I was obsessed with lizards. Even though he doesn't look like a chameleon, he looks more like an iguana, which we'll get to that in a bit. So these were like these cop guys. There's like an army of them that I made for the cop military, whatever. They carry around submachine guns. So they're strolling along, and they kill those punk guys that beat up Amanda. Meanwhile, Bleen and Blizz are running. Bleen and Blizz, that sounds like a musical duo. They're running out of the forest, and they run onto a bunch of ice. Icicles shoot at them. It's Chill Penguin. They shoot, melt the icicles, and blow up his machine. Now he's basically going like this, and shooting wind or snow at them, or both. Kind of like Chill Penguin in the game, even though he uses like a machine or a thing to do that. Let's shoot his thing that's making wind. Yeah. So he takes out a gun, which shoots like an ice ray. Blizz throws a time grenade. Boom! He's dead. They flee. Spot some lizard-like creature on a train. So they jump on board it. And Blaine says, let's split up. I'll look on top. That's the sound of him running. It's Sting Chameleon, which, like I said, he looks more like an iguana or something. Blaine shoots at him, but he escapes. Meanwhile, Blizz is looking for Blaine, because one of the cops was killed right here. The lizard guy took his, or chameleon, whatever, took his gun and shot him with it. Here he split this one's head open right there. Blaine saying, holy shit! I think I added that in later. Here's the gun go off in the background. Chameleon shot the conductor. Damn. Tries to open the door, but it's locked. And the chameleon is out there. I have no idea what the hell he's saying. Blaine jumps out the window before the train crashes. Oh, that's the end of that page. Meanwhile, Inky is underground fighting the armadillo, even though he looks more like a mole. He's shooting at him. Then he shoots the ceiling, and a pile of rocks land on him, damaging him. But his hand comes out because he's still alive, so Inky shoots him again. Boom. Dead. And right here is where Joe is, like, coming to. He was, like when the mammoth blasted him, he landed into a tower. These bunch of panels right here, I have no idea what's going on, but right here, Joe is like fighting off, what's his face? The Boomer Kuwanger. Then some cop guys show up to reinforce, what the hell's his name? Blizz. Thanks, let's split up. And one of them's already dead. You know, Bleen, and somehow Blizz is on like a helicopter or a plane or something. No, he's like at a base or something, I think, actually, correct. So, Blizz and one of the cops are fighting a bunch of guys. Then Storm Eagle shows up. Yeah, it looks more like a duck. And he does his wing flapping move. You know, if anybody has played Mega Man X, you know, that's the first move he does is when he flaps his wings at you. So he does that, sends one of the cops flying into the wall and breaking his neck or something. Meanwhile, Joe is fighting Boomer Kuwanger, who looks, I don't know, more like a Final Fantasy boss or something. So Blizz and the other cop are strolling along, and the blank from Dick Tracy shows up, kills the other cop, and then he catches the cop's gun, and Blizz shoots his hand. Ah, my hand! Yeah, but he escapes. This I actually thought was pretty kind of a cool idea. Boomer Kuwanger throws a spiked boomerang at Joe, but Joe catches it, cutting his hand, throws it, and then shoots it so it heats up and cuts him in half horizontally. So now Boomer Kuwanger's dead. Meanwhile, Bleen is pursuing the chameleon to a castle, or chasing him, and he finds him at a castle. For this part, I needed silver and gold, and because I didn't have any silver and gold markers, I used crayon. Bleen's inside the castle and gets attacked by a knight, and he finds a sword which has a gold blade. I keep spitting on my damn camera. He starts fighting the knight, and he knocks his helmet off, and what a surprise, another lizard, so Bleen cuts his head off. Then, Sting Chameleon shoots, I don't know, moldy corn on the cob, which changes to, like, turquoise. And, he's shooting at the ceiling, so it, rocks, like, hit Bleen. And then, Bleen is doing the same thing, and then a boulder, or a huge chunk of the ceiling comes down and crushes Sting Chameleon, so he's like, ha 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 ha, oh! He's actually supposed to be panting here, but it looks more like he's laughing, but okay. The boulder explodes. Sting Chameleon is still alive. He's got oil coming out of his mouth, shooting out of his neck, his wire sticking out of his arm. Bleen cuts him in half vertically. Then he escapes the castle, jumps onto the ship. It's been repaired. Boom! And all of a sudden, Blizz has another cop with him, I guess. I don't know. So meanwhile, him and... yeah, they're killing more soldiers and stuff. Bleen, meanwhile, on that ship. Inky, is that you? Yep. So they're reunited. Everyone's reunited except for Blizz. Well, yeah. So then, Blizz is on the, whatchamacallit. Blizz jumps onto, like, a helicopter or something. And then he's killing some soldiers, ninjas, whatever, and clearly a xenomorph. And then, yeah, I have no idea what the hell he's saying. He throws a time grenade. Well, that's original. And jumps out, blows up the helicopter, killing, the hell's his face, the Storm Eagle. So now, all of a sudden, they're all back on the ship, and the only two left are Launch Octopus and Spark Mandrill, which... Spike dumps an ashtray into the Octopus, which... this is a reference to the old SWAT Cats cartoon. Why they'd have an ashtray on a ship, I don't know, but whatever. So that blows him up and damages Spark Mandrill, which I guess that's supposed to be him. He's hanging onto the ladder. Amanda damaged, so he can't really hold on, so Amanda grabs the ladder and yanks it away, and he flies down like, oh shit. Boom. They finally reach the evil organization base, prison, whatever. They're all reunited, killing soldiers and stuff. Bleen cuts off some guy's head and takes his sword. This was a reference to the movie, what the hell is it called? Enemy Mine. The guard is like, what's going on? Bleen says, trouble. The guy says, trouble? What kind of trouble? Bleen goes, this kind! Kills the guard. Like I said, that was a reference to the movie. So they unlock the gate. And the ship that was captured at the beginning, this is where everyone who was on it, there's Edge, this like ninja guy. Slaith, I believe his name was, which is like a dragon guy with blade hands. I think his name was Jack. Julie, which is like some blonde girl. Those were the four on the ship, and then Ashley is here, who, like I said, was captured earlier. So now they're all reunited, fighting soldiers and stuff. There's Bleen cutting off some guy's head. Edge and Ashley fighting. Then a helicopter shows up with reinforcements. Some guy's like, hey, what's up, Mac? Jack, whatever. Two army guys. Let's split up. I don't know. Here's Blizz killing the Blank, kicking him into a spiked wall. As for those two military guys, wow, they were in it long. Watch out! They get killed by two guys with flamethrowers. So Bleen's like, hey, over here! One of them goes to shoot fire at him, but jumps out of the way at the last second, and he's dead. Then Bleen rips off the other one's head. And right here was a shot of Jack crushing some guy's head. And yeah, that was it. I never actually ended up finishing it. So I might look through some of the other comics I've done over time, but like I said, I got other videos planned for October. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.